quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to, what is this show called? It's called Tabletop Gold, The Roots of Ruin, episode 79.
That's
welcome,
us.
all of you. That's us. Welcome to all the friends of Hoot joining us again for another, what is this called? A podcast, for another tabletop role-playing game podcast.
Man, you were on a roll tonight.
Oh, this is good stuff. I'm Lars, Casteen, and I'm joined today by four of the finest role players you will ever see. They are as follows: David, the Tin Man, Chernicoff.
Good that time. Lars, I want to applaud your prompter skills. You are word perfect so far.
Okay, good.
All of that was scripted.
That was all scripted. Wait, so are you suggesting that the reason I didn't know that this was called a podcast is because the prompter was lagging behind where it should have been and like my brain just went blank? Because that's sort of what it felt like to me at the time.
That's right. We need to fire Hector, the cue card guy.
Yeah, he's really been dropping the cue cards.
Cue cards,
lately.
literally. Yeah.
Yes. Zoe Chernicoff is here.
Hello.
Hi, Zoe.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm very tired. I'm fine. It's okay.
You know, it's that time of year.
It's
We're all
that time of
tired.
the year again. It's true. The issue is that I've started using my sad lamp now, which means that I'm getting up because of the time change
Right.
at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I was going to
Oof.
check in on Sad Lamp. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're
it's happening.
doing it. I'm sorry it's costing you here on the back end here at night.
Yeah. So the issue now is that I'm gleefully happy. No signs of depression, but I have not slept in weeks. So
Yeah,
that's
you're
sort of
ha-
what's happening with me.
You're a happy, sleepy boy.
Yeah, that's right. Armat Humphreys is here.
Good that time, Lars.
Good that time. Thank you for that. Robin Lange is here as well.
It's the sleepiest time of the year.
One way or another. You end up tired.
But okay, don't let the fact that I'm complaining about being tired dissuade you from listening to the rest of this podcast, because the reason that I'm so tired is that I was saving up juice for tonight's show. I'm going to be bringing that high heat all episode long, that famous Casteen intensity that you come here for. I'm bringing it. I'm the zing, the zazz.
Pure magistrate juice.
That's right.
Unfiltered.
Oh,
Direct
well,
to consumer.
I will
That's
have none
right.
of that, thank you.
Okay, no, that's not
Okay.
what's on tap.
No? Nobody?
No
Um,
magistrate juice, thank you.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today, I was editing an episode a little while ago, and listener, maybe you noticed this. You know by now that that Mag has taken the Mauler archetype. Mag has abandoned one or two of her feats and has taken on the Mauler dedication, which is like her doubling down on knocking people over, doing bludgeoning damage, that kind of thing. During the episode in which that first came out, I said that Mag had taken the Mauler archetype, and Robin said, "Excuse me, the what archetype?" As though I was saying the word Mauler in a weird way compared to what it is that Robin was expecting.
I just had it spelled out like the romantic composer.
Gustav Mahler?
Yeah, like
Gustav
Gustav Mahler. That's why we were talking about Gustav Mahler at the end of that episode. So
Ich habe der Mahler dedication getragen.
And then I realized in editing, doing when you edit a piece of audio like this, like you listen to it a little bit differently than when it's happening. And I realized that Robin was wondering if I meant to say Mauler
Yes,
instead of Mauler.
the mall.
Like someone who goes to the mall is a mauler.
Yeah.
Well, that's a mauler.
So the point that I'm trying to make is that for me, the word mall, M-A-U-L, and the word mall, M-A-L-L, are pronounced the same way. This is, I guess, an aspect of my accent that I wasn't aware of being different from everybody else's. But I was wondering if any of you have words that you are aware that you say differently from other people that become like telltale signs of your own whatever regional American accent you have.
I have a couple. My dad is from Idaho, and they say a couple words there very differently from where I grew up on the East Coast, which was like mostly the Boston region. Most people say coyote. I say coyote.
You say coyote.
Yeah. And most people say creek. I say crick.
Crick.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you say
Yeah.
crick?
And those are two I noticed out in Idaho a lot, and I think I picked them up from my dad. But I'd be really interested to hear what other words other people have.
One thing I like about those two is that those are words that I imagine people in Idaho say more often than I do living in Queens.
Probably right.
They do come
You
up
don't have
more
a crick
often
in the
than
hood?
suburban
I don't.
Massachusetts. I can confirm that.
So neither of my parents are from where I grew up. My mom's from Philadelphia herself, but does not have a Philadelphia accent. She doesn't say water. She doesn't say Monday, Tuesday, she doesn't do that Philly accent.
She doesn't whip C-cell batteries at opposing baseball teams when they
She does
come around to play.
not.
Does she say, let's go to Wawa?
I mean, she does like a good Wawa. She does like butterscotch crimpets. Who doesn't?
No.
But those are taste more than dialect, I guess. And my dad's from Yonkers. And so and he still, when he talks about where he grew up, he was born in the Bronx, but he says the Bronx with a U.
The Bronx.
The Bronx. He's old school. My dad was born in 1935.
That's awesome.
And so when he talks about growing up, he's like, oh yeah, I grew up in the Bronx.
I want to start
And-
saying the Bronx.
You can, man.
You
Okay,
can.
I'm gonna
You
start
can.
doing
You're
it.
going to sound like an old school New Yorker, old school Northern New Yorker.
I'm finally going to have another affectation I can add
And
to
every
the-
now
to
and
the
then
quiver.
I will say things, and I realize that I say them because of where my dad comes from in Yonkers, and particularly his old Yonkers dialect. And when I've taken like dialect quizzes, they don't say I'm from Connecticut. They say I'm from Yonkers.
Oh, interesting.
Which is fascinating to me that I picked up my dad's dialect. Kind of like
Yeah.
what our Matt was saying about having, even though you grew up in Massachusetts or in Boston, you have all these Idahoisms.
Totally. Yeah. That's so funny.
So, Robin, I have a very similar thing to you, which is like a dialect and idiom that I picked up from my parents, but my parents grew up really far away from where I did. Both my parents grew up in Brooklyn. And so, like, the clearest ones of these that I can remember are I say orange. I grew up in California where everyone says orange. And I pronounced the name of the state Oregon. And I was around a lot of people who said Oregon or Oregon. And definitely got made fun of as a kid for this pronouncing this O as a long ah instead of an O.
Zoe, do you have anything like this?
As a small child, I horrified my parents. We lived in Austin, Texas. My mom was getting her PhD when I was very small, and I picked up like a pretty deep Southern accent at the age of like 5. So there are videos of me where I'm like, I like the things that are pink, and I like teddy bears. And my parents were like, oh boy.
Oh boy.
And we've watched that with our own kids, who from time to time have had various teachers with stronger Southern accents than either of us. And so there have been single words. Our daughter in particular she's always been a really good mimic. Like I learned when she was under 2 years old that I do a thing when I'm considering stuff where I smack my lips, where I'll be like, it's not like, it's like a pause. When she started doing it.
Someone asks you a question like, Mom, can I have unlimited cookies?
And you're like, well, I was thinking that we wouldn't do that. It's a delay tactic, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so she has from time to time picked up like a dead ringer version of a word, including Southern accents, or the exact way that my mother says F-bombs.
Oh.
We're like,
That's amazing.
Oh, that's Grandma Linda. There it is.
It's
It's unmistakable.
Now we know where AO gets it from.
That's right. From Grandma Linda.
This is just like a topic of conversation that I love. It's something that I think about all the time, in part because like I have a tin ear for it. Like I can't hear the differences between different pronunciations of words really all that well.
Fascinating, because you have such a finely tuned musical ear. Like I can't hear the differences between anything, but it's kind of like across the board.
Yeah, I think that I have some language stuff in my brain that doesn't work exactly correctly, potentially. I don't know. Like I had to get speech therapy as a kid because I wasn't able to pronounce R's and I wasn't able to pronounce S's and TH's and stuff. But it's a thing that I really enjoy talking about. So here's what I'm thinking for next week, everybody. There's that New York Times, what's the word I'm thinking of? Dialect quiz. Do we want to take the dialect quiz and share any interesting thoughts that we have about this? Is that okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The New York Times dialect quiz
Sounds
that came out
fun.
like 4 or 5 years ago. It's super fun to do. I'll put a link in this episode's show notes if you at home want to take it. But I love it and I want to talk about it with you guys if that's cool.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Heck yeah.
do it. You know what else we should do is we should talk about reviews. We got a review for our podcast over here
Which one?
on the one that we're doing right now on Apple
good. Phew.
Podcasts.
This one?
I love this one.
This one. This is a review that came in from Blue Jack on Apple Podcasts. They say that we convey the fun of TTRPGs really well, but that their only criticism is the slamming of physicians because they are themselves a surgeon. Have we been slamming physicians? Do you guys remember?
There was one episode where I believe we vented a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
about doctors not
Yes.
doing a great job of
It
believing
was the
us.
New Yorker cartoon.
Right. I was talking about how doctors keep quitting after I get them. And that doctor, by the way, just to catch up on that thing from the hundreds of episodes ago, he just quit. I now have to find a new doctor.
Oh
I feel
no.
like that's the worst too.
Thank you so much to Blue Jack for writing that review. It's incredibly helpful and I really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
So thank you.
And we respect your profession.
Yeah.
I really do.
Broadly
Yeah,
speaking.
like four out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's play our game. You've only started to piece together the mysteries of the 5th floor below Gauntlet. What purpose did this area have when Belcora Haravex was first constructing her Abomination vaults? What use do its current residents have for it? Those mysteries will have to wait at least for a moment, as this broad chamber containing a throne and 2 yawning pits also holds a pair of hostile creatures, 2 spheroid monsters with strong legs and big teeth, their purple skin covered with scars and flecked with acidic spittle dripping from their hungry mouths. We're just going to start the show off with a showstopper. Let's roll for initiative.
What?
Yeah.
Roll for initiative.
Okay, how did everybody do on their initiative roll? Start with David. How did Mag do?
That's a 21 for Mag. So, alert, looking for something in here, but not necessarily at her sharpest. Presumably, she's a little distracted between trying to size up the monsters and trying to size up the terrain, the pits.
Yeah, these pits that are standing a short distance in front of you are 10 feet by 10 feet. And from the position that you're in now, you just see pitch black below them. Like it is like you are staring into space itself. So I can understand how that would potentially throw Mag off. Zoe, how did Ao do?
Okay. I think she knew something would be here, but wasn't quite sure what, and as always is offended by someone with a bite attack. It's a 22 on the die. Or 22, yeah, all in.
I think given that offense, you're doing pretty well because these two have the bitiest bite attack you ever saw in your life. So
Maybe we won't find out.
maybe you won't find out. Armet, how did Vadim do?
Vadim did pretty good. He got a 15 on the die, so I think he was just, as soon as that door opened, he was raring to go, pretty much.
All right, and I'll let you know right off the bat, you are the fastest of your friends.
Oh, excellent. Yes, it was 25 was the total initiative score. Sorry, I should have.
Yeah, there you go. 25 with the scouting. That's actually 26. But, Robin, how did Trill do?
Trill did not roll great. Trill, I only rolled a 4 on the die. So that was only a 16.
So here's the bad news. You are going last of the group.
That's never good news for Trill.
Nope.
This is not a great situation for the party. Let's see how this goes as we move into round 1. And here's what we're looking at. This room is a wide east-west chamber, about 45 or 50 feet across. You are stepping into it from the south with these 2 big pits right in front of you. And you're all sort of bunched up at the entrance to the room while these 2 small purple scarred spheroid creatures are next to the pits about 20 to 40 feet away from you. As we get going, here's whose turn it is. Mine.
Boo.
Boo.
You hate to see it.
This purple creature looks at Mag and opens its mouth, and just almost like a boiling, frothing, acidic bile starts welling up in its mouth, and it just goes, ah, and blasts bile straight at Mag like a laser beam. And I rolled a 23 to hit.
A 23 just hits.
So Mag gets coated with this acid and starts taking 1d6 persistent acid damage. At the same time, she takes a little bit of splash damage. She takes a d6 of splash damage, meaning 5 points of damage coming to her right now, as well as Trill, who is standing right next to Mag and is caught in the crossfire. At this point, this creature starts bounding on both legs, boing, boing, up towards Mag. Its strong legs flexing as it lunges forward and snaps at Mag's face. And that's going to be a miss with a 16.
Yeah, that won't do it.
Vadim, standing outside the hall, sees what's happening, and it is now his turn to go.
So right off the mark, he's going to stride towards the enemies, dashing past Mag, Trill, and AO. And he's going to launch right into his bread and butter, which is, of course, the double slice.
As the kids are calling it.
So yeah, with a pair of graceful, it sort of almost looks like they're moving, like floating through the air as he slices. Vigilance and the Dagger of Venom reach out. That's a 31 with Vigilance and a 20 with the dagger.
Ooh.
That is just not a critical hit with Vigilance.
Oh.
The Venom slices above this creature, but you do connect with Vigilance.
All right. Well, I'll take it. And that is 13 damage.
Wow.
You feel Vigilance's blade scrape across this leathery exterior of this creature, and you get the impression that you've done some damage to it. With that, it is now AO's turn.
Ao is just displeased by this whole thing, and she sort of quietly whips her head over, stares at the creature on the right, just kind of starts slowly. You think you're so fucking great because you have all those teeth, and you're just gonna stand there and you spit your fucking acid on everyone, and I can see what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna eat Mag and try and drag her in that pit, and her reflex save is shit, and we can't have this. I hate you, you miserable lying sack of shit. And so she casts Biting Word.
Biting Words flying right at this. What did you roll, Zoe?
That was a 20 on the die. Those words, that thing, it's self-esteem.
You gotta draw.
Nice.
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 Figuratively, a bite attack.
Figuratively a bite attack. This is what you got. This is a crit card for a spell. Planar Rift is what this is called. If this is a spell, the target takes normal damage and must succeed at a will save or be sent to a random plane determined by the GM.
Whoa. Cool.
Okay. I'll take
I
normal
will add that I
damage.
am also going to use a hero point card here.
Okay.
In addition to this, I'm going to use Tim from Wisconsin has given us the Tin Man's Turnabout. Which allows any crit card that is pulled from the deck and does normal damage to actually also do the damage it should have done.
Okay. So
Thank
we're
you,
going to do
Tim.
double damage and send this creature to another plane.
Well, maybe.
do we
don't
need
know.
do we need to damage it more if we're sending it to hell or whatever?
Look, Tim is going to send them to hell with a nice
With extra
shiny
big chunk.
bruise on their rump.
Yeah,
So
swift kick to the rear. Get the hell out of here.
Love it.
That's awesome.
And it might pass its will save, right?
it
I
might
don't
pass
know.
its will save.
True.
This feels
true.
like a matter of principle, and I think everything AO has done so far has been a matter of principle. So even if it's
Agreed.
wasted damage, I'm here for it.
I agree. So let's get this critical damage first.
All right, that is 34 points of damage.
Oh boy.
So your words cut into them. You're not safe for words. Cut into this creature, and it starts like jostling around as it just like and screams, acid frothing out of its mouth as it does so. And then you see it starts getting pulled brain first into a weird point that has just appeared behind it as the planes open up and it gets sucked forward into another place. So let's do a will save, shall we?
I bet this thing has a great will save.
Yeah, this creature's a genius. So I just rolled a 20 on my will save versus your class DC.
Oh, that's a 17. So you pass. See,
Okay.
double damage was a good
Nice.
idea.
All
Thanks,
right.
Thank you,
Tim.
Tim.
Man.
All
Yeah,
right.
Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Beautiful
Good call,
use of
AO.
a hero point card, by the way.
You know,
For a normal damage crit, that is, I think, genuinely one of the better ones that we've seen.
I am very sad it
Yeah.
didn't work. It would have
Yeah.
been pretty cool if that thing had just been sucked into
What
another
dimension
plane.
would you have sent him to, Lars?
I was looking up other planes. I don't know what the planes are.
I like the idea it finds itself in Zelbub's world and somehow gets indentured to a contract to help clean the floors of
Yeah,
Gauntlet.
just goes to hell and is working for Zosler now. He's working for Corlock.
I think this is the first time, Lars, that I've seen you encounter a massive, expansive list associated with this game and genuinely freeze up a little bit. Like we finally gone past, what you've already got a grasp of.
Well, what it is that I'm very good at looking things up quickly, and this is just a very difficult thing to look up online.
Yeah.
I could have done a better job.
No. I don't mean that it was a bad thing. I mean, it's like this game is so expansive
Yes.
and you have it all in your head, but you've never been asked to pick a random plane before.
It's true. It's true. Zoe, I think you got one more action for AO.
AO is going to try and learn something about these dumb
Okay.
creatures who have bad will saves.
Sure, that
But
would
not
be
that bad.
That would be a recall knowledge with an occultism. You can do one of those checks that I just threw into chat.
All right.
What you know about this creature is that they are known as rollers. And they are very bad at pushing people. I'm sorry, I'm doing a terrible job coming up with false information for you. You rolled a critical failure and I froze. Again, second time in this episode, froze in the headlights, David.
All right.
You
well,
got me.
So we didn't learn anything.
You didn't learn anything good.
But we got to watch you fumble around, and that
You
was
sure
a
did.
gift.
I did embarrass myself on my podcast, so that's good.
You can take it out.
As AO comes up with nothing believably true on her recall knowledge check, it is Mag's turn, and Mag is coated with a sticky, searing acid. What will Mag do?
So, question, Lars, from where I am right now,
Mhm.
can I shove this thing toward the pit?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm taking my cue from AO here that we're hoping to banish it to the bottom of the pit, but just in case we don't, we're gonna try to take a good hunk of damage out of it first. It's a kind of insurance policy. All right, so Mag rages. So let's see, what would that sound like? It would sound like something like ah, and then she's gonna hit it with a hammer. Oh, God, that's satisfying. And that is a 31 to hit.
Okay. That's the second 31 this round. Both of those would have been 32s, would have been critical strikes if Trill had rolled higher on her initiative.
Yep.
It sucks.
It sucks.
And that is 23 damage.
You feel your maul slam into this creature, and it resists a good bit of the damage that you slam into it. Its musculature, its bone structure withstands a big chunk of your bludgeoning damage as it just goes at you.
Useless piece of shit, AO shouts from the corner.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all I do now is bludgeon things. So Mag, having connected with the maul, she takes a step forward and uses her full weight to try to shove it back into the pit.
So give me an athletics check. This is going to be versus their fortitude DC. We're going to add a +1 because your maul has the shove trait. And we're going to subtract 5 because this is your second attack.
Yeah, that didn't work. That's a 5 on the die, and that's going to be a 15 total. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, so Mag puts her full weight into her maul, and this creature plants both of its legs, and it's just like two immovable objects grinding against each other, and it stays still, not falling into the pit behind it.
All right, we'll shove first next time.
At the end of Mag's turn, she feels that acid burn into her for 1 point of acid damage, and go ahead and give me the flat check in the chat to see if that acid damage goes away.
All right, and that is a 17 on the recovery check.
And it does.
Woo! Nice.
So this acid drips off of Mag, and she is fine.
It's like she screamed so hard it shook off.
Yeah, I imagine that. Yeah, between the scream and then the effort to shove, maybe that was enough of a jostle that a bunch of it fell to the floor.
Like a golden retriever shaking.
As that happens, the one of these two spheroid creatures that Ao yelled these insults at starts hopping across the room towards Mag and flexes its two strong legs and just jumps up at full speed straight into Mag's chest, attempting to shove her backwards. So here comes an athletics check versus Mag's fortitude DC. I rolled a 25 on that.
All right, fortitude plus 10 is a 23, so that's going to work.
So Mag gets shoved back as this creature slams into her and then bounces back off of her and opens its mouth and does a jackknife dive onto Mag's chest, trying to slam her down onto the ground.
Ooh.
This is going to be a trip attempt versus Mag's. This is going to be an athletics check -5 to Mag's reflex DC.
Okay.
So the -5, it is a 27.
All right, so that is just barely not a critical success. It is a plain old vanilla success.
So it slams into Mag's chest, just brutal force, pushing Mag down onto the ground. So Mag is now prone. And as it does so, it lands straight on Mag's chest and chomps one awesome time.
How many actions was that? I feel like it was about 9 actions.
I rolled a 14 on the die for a 24.
Is this a double map? Was that its third attack?
Its map doesn't increase. It's doing something called pinning chomp. It did a bouncing slam at Mag, shoving her back, then jumps up and does a pinning chomp.
Wow.
It does a trip and a strike, and the map doesn't increase until both of those are done. It's messed up.
24 hits.
24 hits, meaning that Mag is going to again start taking another D6 of persistent acid damage, and she is also going to take 1d8 plus 7 piercing damage, minimum damage. That is only 8 points of piercing damage to Mag. So that could have been worse.
Yeah.
But Mag is now on
Could have been
her...
better.
It could have been better.
Yeah.
Mag is now on her back between these two pits. It is Trill's turn.
This is a disaster! Trill immediately starts playing
some inspire courage using her lingering composition to try and make it last longer because, oh my God, she's coming way too late to the game. So for Trill's lingering comp, that was a 23.
23, that's a success, meaning that everybody is going to get 3 rounds of Inspire Courage.
Woo! Thank you,
Okay.
Trill.
Excellent.
With Trill's second action, I guess, you know what, Trill's going to first do I guess I'll do a recall knowledge first because we haven't figured out anything about them.
So go ahead and give me one of these occultism checks, please, for this aberrant creature that you're sizing up. And Trill is not sure what this is.
What is wrong with my rolls today? Well, so Trill's going to use her versatile performance feat to demoralize, which means she has to use performance. And that's a 20. And she's going to demoralize the one, and she's going to use that on the one that is going next.
So that 20, unfortunately for Demoralize, this creature does not share a language with you and is going to take a minus. So your check is going to take a -4 to that, meaning that that's really just a 16, which does not succeed. So,
But Lars,
Yes.
Lars,
yes,
everyone shares the language of music.
it's still.
a good point.
I think that you need to have scary words in your song, apparently, for it to have full potency. So. The good news is that it wouldn't have worked even without that penalty. So
Okay.
don't worry too much about it. So this creature turns its head and looks at you and goes, "Ah," and is unfrightened by your song.
Wow, that was not great. Okay.
With that, it's the beginning of round 2, and here's the situation. The thing you need to know most right now is that 2 of these creatures are nearly flanking Mag, who is on her back and covered with acid, a very short distance away from both of these pits. It is now the turn of the creature to Mag's left, which should be a relief to her because that's the one that has no way of pushing her into the pit. It sees that Mag is down and it is going to strike its weakest opponent. That is a 21 to hit.
And a 21 will hit.
Mag is going to take some more piercing damage as this creature chomps into them. These 2 creatures just descending upon Mag and biting and biting and biting. Minimum damage, 8 piercing damage.
Glimpse, please.
Okay, so that 8 piercing damage is now instead going to be
1 piercing
1
damage.
piercing damage. I'm going to let that. I'm not going to take that attack.
Oh,
I'm going to pull the attack back. As this creature sees a vision of Pharasma going, and says,
Oh, interesting.
I think that's the first time we've seen a monster actually listen to
So
Pharasma.
it doesn't want to be enfeebled or what's the other option?
Stupefied.
Or stupefied.
No, it has a
Interesting.
conscience. It's
That's
really,
right.
it's remorseful.
it's ready to be redeemed. And as it considers being redeemed, it chomps its jaws into Mag one more time for a 25 to hit.
Well, that's not very redeemy. And that definitely hits.
And that is minimum damage again.
Again,
8
that's 3
points
in a
of
row.
piercing damage. 3 in a row of minimum damage. And this creature is going to bound through its friend's space and to land on the far southeastern side of Mag, positioning itself to next turn push Mag straight into the pit.
Yikes.
It is now Vadim's turn.
So for his first action, Vadim is going to step just south of the other one of these aberrations, and so that he's flanking it with Mag. Does he still get the flanking penalty even if she's prone and flat-footed?
To flank a foe, you have to be on opposite side of the creature. Both you have to be able to act. You both have to be wielding melee weapons. You can't be under any effects that prevent you from attacking, and you have to have the enemy within reach. So yes, this creature is still distracted by Mag and is flat-footed.
Fantastic. It's sort of Mag adopting the come back here, I'll gnaw your ankles off approach to combat.
Yes.
Exactly.
Also, I finally figured out what these monsters remind me of. If you guys will forgive a quick digression.
We
Mad
love-
Balls. Do you guys remember these toys from like the early 80s, 90s? I just put them in the link in the chat. But they were,
Oh, sure.
right? These things that, anyway, look them up. That gives you a pretty accurate idea of what we're fighting here. I feel.
Mad balls.
Mad
Yes.
Balls.
Mad
Yeah,
balls.
A spheroid monstrosity.
exactly.
They do look upset.
Yeah. They also have some great pun
Frustrated
names,
balls.
like a drooling bull called Spit Bull, which I don't know. It's not great, but it's,
I love it.
It's Garbage Pail Kids funny, at least.
It's like, what if we took this tennis ball and made it a garbage pail kid?
100%, totally. And with that established,
People
Vadim's going to do a double
high-fiving in the
slice.
marketing room.
Sir, I've got bad news. We bought 3 million tennis balls.
God damn it, Terry. That's the second time you've bought all those tennis balls.
Wait, what's the bad news?
So that is a 32 on an attack with vigilance and a 32 with the attack of the dagger of venom.
Hey.
Okay,
One more
so
higher
last
than the
round.
31.
Last round,
Trill.
everybody rolled 31s. Trill's inspired courage come through, and those are both critical hits.
Woo! Ow, ow! That is 44 points of damage.
Wow.
It's a lot of damage. We like that much damage.
That's nuts.
So in one fluid motion, both of these blades swipe across this mad ball-like toothy creature, and you just slice it gracefully in half, like a sharpened blade through a baked potato.
Hmm.
Well, now I'm hungry. And that's it.
And as that happens, it is now Ao's turn.
So she whips her head over to the second of these things we don't know anything about, and goes, "Yeah, and that's gonna happen to you, you little fucker. We sliced your friend like a baked potato, and be prepared for the same shitty end, you remorseless son of a bitch."
We really should have started bleeping these from the jump.
We still can.
It's too hard. It's too hard. I don't know how. It's too annoying.
Well, that's a bummer, because that's a 1 on the die. I've gotten only 20s or 1s.
That's true.
Fumbled hard.
These dice are being bananas tonight.
Right, you've
by the
only
way.
gotten minimum damage. We're like really at highs
Yeah,
and
I
lows.
keep
yeah.
rolling
here.
4s.
Extremes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this crit card, this fumble card that you just drew, is called Cursed.
Oh, good.
You are Doomed 1.
Oh, talk to me
Oh.
about Doomed.
Doomed. A powerful force has gripped your soul, calling you closer to death. Doomed always includes a value. The dying value at which you die is reduced by your doomed value. So you will
Whoa.
now die at
Oof.
dying 3 instead of dying 4.
Oh.
If your maximum dying value is reduced to 0, you instantly die. But the good news is when you die, you're no longer doomed. So
That's nice. That's nice. So
Okay.
you do get to go to heaven.
your doomed value decreases by 1 each time you get a full night's rest. And I would just like to remind you that if you'd like to, you can spend a hero point to negate the effects of a crit or fumble card according to one of our house rules.
But then I don't have any hero points to spend to not die. I
To
kind of
not
feel like
die.
I wind up in the same place.
You're still doomed. You're doomed if you do, doomed if you don't.
That's right, as they
That's how
say.
that saying goes, yeah.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to be doomed.
Okay.
I'm outside the door. I don't know.
So Ao's biting words go so badly that she gets pulled closer to death. And you got 2 more actions.
So Ao, shaken and with a dark sense of dread, she pulls out chompers and fires an arrow off at our good friend. And that is a 26.
26 hits. So even though you're doomed, your arrow does find its target.
We're both doomed, am I right? And that's 11 points of damage.
11 points of damage as you continue chipping away at this creature. It is now Mag's turn. Mag is on the ground with this bouncing, toothy ball just on one side of her and a gaping pit on the other side of her. What is Mag going to do?
Well, first action, Mag is going to stand up. Then Mag is going to move away from the edge of the pit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
There is a little bit of real estate on the far side of this adversary that enables Mag to kind of scoot past Vadim, which then positions her on the opposite side. So it's now between her and the pit. And to hit or to shove? Well, last time I hit first, and it didn't go so well. So this time I'm also going to hit first. I will use my last action to do not a ton of bludgeoning damage. Okie dokie. That's a 2 on the die for a 17.
Look, it could be worse. You could be doomed.
You could be
I could be doomed.
So Mag swings her maul at this creature, which jumps straight up into the air, and the maul passes harmlessly underneath it. And as this creature lands back on the ground, Mag takes 4 points of acid damage, needs to make a flat check, and it is Trill's turn.
Here's the flat check. That is a 3. So that damage is gonna persist for a little while.
Nevertheless.
Yeah. Nevertheless.
Well, Trill's mad. Trill's very mad. Trill's so mad
How mad is she?
that
Thank you.
that she's just gonna go and
Mope.
yeah, just mope. Just mope.
Put her Cranberries records on, go home.
Yeah.
And I said,
Zombie. Zombie.
God, I love
Hey.
that song.
Hey. Oh.
In your head!
What a great song.
Trill's just she's got her loot in her hand. I'm just she just starts she's back to being Dylan in Rhode Island at the Norfolk Folk Festival, Newport Folk Festival, and it's electric arc time, baby. Woo! It's electric arc time.
It's electric.
Can she hit the corpse of the other one just because it was so shitty also? That she can hit two things?
Sure, she'll turn that to dust as well.
All
Sure.
right, how much damage are we getting from this electric arc?
9.
9 points of damage as this creature tries to jump out of the way of this electricity crackling in its direction.
Oh,
That's a 30 on its reflex save, so it succeeds but does not critically succeed.
yeah, it
And
does
it's gonna take
succeed.
half damage.
Okay, so it gets, 4 points of damage?
4 points of damage. As it is now its turn, we are at the beginning.
Did you do the 0.5? The 4.5? Because 9.5.
You have more actions? You
I
wanna
still
do?
have one more action, thank
Okay,
you.
go for it.
What about the
How
0.5
dare you,
thing,
sir?
though? Did we
How
do the
dare you?
0.5?
We did the 0.5.
Okay, cool.
I put that in my pocket for later.
Yeah.
How dare you, sir?
Sorry. I'm just so ready to do something really annoying, and I just want to go.
I know you are. So for Trill's third action then, Trill's just going to throw off a magic missile. Because Trill's really pissed.
We're talking first level or third level?
Let's see, this thing's badly injured. So Trill's just going to throw off a first level magic missile.
Okay. Boop. So you're doing one action magic missile,
One single action.
burning a
magic
spell
missile.
slot to do
Burning a spell slot for 5 points
5
of
damage to me. I
Full
love
damage.
it. I love it. Thank you for that, Robin. Sorry, I'm being mean for no reason. Okay.
Because what if I left you with like a point of health left?
No, you didn't. I'm still doing great. So this force dart slams into this creature as we hit the beginning of round 3. Everyone in the party is grouped up in a neat cross formation at the entrance to the room. And it is at this point that this creature bounds back to the back edge of both of these pits, set up perfectly between the two of them so that anybody who wants to get in its face is going to have to stand close to the pit. It reaches its head back and coughs up a perfect teardrop-shaped loogie straight at Vadim.
We get a lot of loogies these days.
And I rolled a 2 on the die for a 16.
Thank God.
That misses.
Is not
You
going
don't need to tell me. Okay, good. And then it does it again. It says, and spits another globule of acid and 19 on the die. That's a 28 to hit.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
Meaning that all of you are going to take this splash damage. 5 points of splash damage to all of you. And Vadim is now, like Mag, coated in 1d6 of acid damage.
So I seriously get no cover because Vadim's in front of me.
He's not hitting you. He's hitting Vadim, and you get hit by Splash. Splash hits everybody adjacent to the target. So you would have had cover if it targeted you, but it targeted Vadim, and it just sprayed an aerosol of acid at you because it was cool.
No, thank you.
It is now.
Is a cool monster.
I like it. It is now Vadim's turn.
Well, I'll play your game, you rogue. Vadim is going to stride right up and make a double slice and trust in the power of Trill. 21 with vigilance and 25 with the dagger of venom.
So only the dagger of venom hits. Vigilance gets caught up in your cloak, but the dagger finds its target.
Stupid cloak! That is 12 points of damage.
Okay, Vadim steps forward, does a quick, sharp cut into this creature, and it is now Ao's turn.
Wow.
At the end, before you go, at the end of Vadim's turn, Vadim is going to take 4 points of acid damage and needs to make a flat check.
Alrighty, let's see how we do. 4.
You are still covered in acid. So it's Ao's turn. Ao is doomed but inspired. What is she going to do?
So what sort of covered, how big is this thing compared to Vadim? Like, is it getting a +5 advantage if I try and hit it?
If you're shooting through a person, they have lesser cover. It's a +1 to their armor class.
Oh, that's not so bad. So Ao is going to fire off 2 arrows at this thing in hopes of finishing it off. See how that goes. It's a 25 for the first one.
And that 25 hits as the arrow finds its target weaving past Vadim.
That is 10 points of damage on the first arrow.
Okay, 10 points of damage. This creature is looking very, very badly injured now.
And then Ao fires off a second arrow. And that's a 22.
22 means that hits only because, no, I'm sorry. 22 means that misses only because Vadim is standing in front of this creature.
Oh, sorry.
Womp womp.
Huddy.
Having missed it the second time, you worthless piece of shit, you're still going down like a baked potato, she says for her last biting words.
Okay, so this is a big map on the biting words, but you never know.
You don't. It's a 13.
And that misses, sadly. This creature is very close to death, and it is positioned between these two pits. What is Mag going to do on her turn?
All right, Mag's going to start with a sudden charge, which lets me go twice my range, and then make a melee strike, and twice my range will allow me to get all the way around to the back of it. Running all the way around.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
so
awesome.
So Mag can, with twice her range, run all the way around the pit on the eastern side of the room in order to get behind it, and makes a hefty strike with the maul. I'm going to say it's an underhand strike, almost like a baseball swing with the maul into the side of this horrible creature. And that is That's a 3 on the die for an 18.
Maybe re-roll?
I'm tempted to re-roll that.
It is not Mag's day today.
It sure ain't. Yeah, I'll use the hero point, and I will re-roll that attack roll.
So Mag digs deep,
yes,
figures out how to re-guide her maul.
digging super deep here. Digging heels deep into the ground, digging deep into her soul for a re-roll, and that is a 20 on the die, baby.
You gotta draw. Nice.
Nice.
This is called tiring blow. The target is fatigued. So if you somehow do less than 3 points of damage with your critical hit,
Okay.
they will be fatigued. Let's see what happens.
Rest in
Sure.
peace, fucker.
All right. And that is 32 damage. Is that greater than 3?
That's significantly greater than 3. Mag hits this creature so hard that it flies up into the air, perfectly spinning in midair for what feels like an eternity before it plunges down through the pit.
Oh.
And if you were to look down into the pit right now, you would hear the sound of water frothing, screams down below as it sounds like 10 voices calling out at the same time, chomping at this thing, screaming at this thing as it falls into the water. And all you're able to see as you look down into the pit a few moments later is roiling water, followed by a cloud of green blood, and then pieces of this creature's corpse float to the surface.
Woof.
And with that, the room has fallen silent as that improbably challenging encounter comes to a close. God, the dice were so weird on that.
So crazy.
Woof.
But before we move on, I just want to, I guess rules-wise,
Yeah.
Mag still has persistent acid damage going. So Lars, my question for you is, do you have to let it linger?
Do I have to?
Do you have to?
Do
Do
I
you
have to let
Do you
it
have to?
linger? You know what? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to hand wave it. Everybody is at more than enough hit points. Mag has 70 hit points. Vadim has 64 hit points. You're taking a D6 of acid damage along the way. I'm going to add 10 minutes to the recovery time here, and we're going to say that's how we contend with that. So I'll let it linger for 10 minutes.
Thank you. I was ready to be such a fool for you, but this is probably for the best.
Well, I do have you wrapped around my finger, so that could have something to do with it.
Well played.
Zoe, go ahead.
I'm looking up
so
cranberry songs because we've used all the ones I know. No, well, everyone's I feel like Mag is probably panting.
Yeah.
Ao reaches into her back pocket where she keeps some of her lesser disguises and pulls on 2 rubber gloves and walks over to the corpse that's right in front of her and gingerly reaches in, seeing if there's a tooth she can fish out.
Absolutely. There is a tooth. You feel your rubber gloves being tested by the acid covering this creature's mouth, but you're able to gently remove it and wipe any remaining corrosive material from it.
Shittiest tooth I ever got, she says, and she wipes it off and puts it in her tooth pouch. And with that, I think she's curious about the altar over on the left side of the room.
Yeah, so Ao steps over towards that altar and starts searching all around it. And the altar has this throne on it. Just to recap what it is that is happening in this room. There's this throne that has 2 rusted, ancient-looking levers in front of it. You see these 2 open pits a short distance away from that throne. Ao, investigating the throne, sees that it looks like there's a secret compartment on the back of it where something could be stored.
Treasure, she says, and begins trying to get to it.
In the compartment for the throne, You find 31 loose pieces of gold, and you also see a couple interesting objects. One of them looks like a heavy green scale that seems like it comes from an enormous creature.
Hmm.
And the other one looks like a crossbow bolt wrapped in a fine twine.
Hmm.
If you wanted to recognize either of these, you could use any of the magic skills: nature, occultism, arcana, or religion.
Who wants to go fishing with a crossbow bolt? Am I right?
I will do an arcana check on one and an occultism check on the other.
Okay. So Ao spends 10 minutes looking at this bolt with this twine wrapped around it.
But he got any bait?
And she identifies this first item as what's known as a climbing bolt. This is a crossbow bolt that, when it strikes a solid surface, the twine unwinds and magically transforms into a 50-foot long rope securely fastened to the surface that the bolt struck.
Delightful.
That can then be used to climb wherever it is you need to go.
Will that work in chompers, or you need a crossbow?
You need a crossbow, sadly. But those are easy to find. The other item that Ao spends a little bit of time taking a look at, she realizes is a magical talisman known as a dragon turtle scale.
Hmm.
It's something that you attach to your armor, and if you are an expert in athletics, you're able to give yourself a swim speed equal to half of your land speed. So you don't need to make athletics checks to swim. You just become infused with the aquatic magic of the dragon turtle.
Wow. I love that. I want that a lot. If I'd known that there was a dragon turtle, that might have been my barbarian instinct. That's freaking awesome. Dragon turtle me up.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Well, I think Ao cannot use the dragon turtle scale because it looks like you have to be an expert in athletics, which I know is going to be a surprise to everyone that she isn't.
Luckily, we got one of those in the party.
But don't you need to have assurance in athleticism?
Jesus Christ.
I can't imagine that's true because assurance is, by rule, a useless feat.
Well, the point on this one goes to David because you do not need it.
I'm just never gonna not take an opportunity to bring up how terrible that was, and how glad we all are that David changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my, what spell did you have instead of electric arc? It was my that.
Yeah. Ray of Frost.
Yeah,
which
it's my Ray of Frost.
Someone in the Discord commented, I didn't realize Trill had Ray of Frost. I'm like, yeah, because I haven't used it in like 20 episodes.
Yeah.
So I think she sort of calls Mag over. Hey, Mag, I found something for you. And I found 10 gold we can share also.
Mag, classic. Mag doesn't respond immediately because while Ao is over looting the dais, Mag is kneeling at the side of, I guess it's the pit on the western pit where the creature has fallen and where they've heard this kind of strange reaction. She's kneeling at its edge and she's trying to shine some light down and see if she's able to see anything else down there. They now heard, it sounds like maybe there's water at the bottom and creatures inside, but she's trying to get a visual on what's going on there. Maybe she's using her wayfinder, maybe the ever-burning torch that's in the bag of holding, just trying to get eyes on what's down there. So she hears Ao, but she's preoccupied.
Yeah, give me a perception check, please.
All right, that's a 27.
Mag gets a pretty good look down into this pit and realizes that she's looking down into a large natural cavern with a lake in it. That this floor that you're on has been built over an unfinished natural cavern. And in that lake, she sees a pair of huge, multi-headed dragons. Not turtle dragons. Turtle dragons are maybe larger than these creatures are and will have only one head. but Mag is able to see just the edges of her light reflecting across what looks like dozens of teeth gnashing at the air and 10 eyes catching the light. She sees the slick black and red scales of this creature as it occasionally slips up out of the water and then slips back down beneath.
Ooh. Good thing we didn't fall in, huh?
Yeah. Mag scoots back a few inches from the edge and describes this monstrosity to the rest of the group.
Anyone who wants to try to identify what Mag is describing can make either an Arcana or Nature check. With a penalty because you're not getting a great look at it.
What did you say it looked like, Mag? Ao says, trying to figure it out.
Well, it seems to be a multi-headed dragon or serpent, maybe perhaps a hydra of some kind.
Ooh, can I use Vadim's scholarly recollection feat, which I've not used before?
Yeah, how does scholarly recollection work?
Basically, gives me advantage on a roll.
Oh, it's a focus spell. Okay.
Pharasma, guide my insights. Aid me in determining what this creature is. And you were looking for perception? Sorry.
Nature or Arcana?
Oh, I can't use that then. I am untrained in both of those, so never mind.
Got
Just
it.
wasting our time here. Sorry, guys.
So as Mag says, I think it might be a hydra, Vadim is like, I don't know what this is.
No clue.
And Ao is like, oh, that's a hydra. Yeah, Ao recognizes from this description that it sounds like there's a pair of hydras down in this lake.
It's kind of redundant, right? At a certain point, one hydra, two hydras. There's so many heads.
That's right. But hydras, Ao knows, are multi-headed, foul-tempered serpentine beasts with voracious appetites, widely feared for their regeneration abilities. And they are terrifying. The idea of being caught in the water by one of these creatures is something that I imagine none of you relish.
Do we have any reason to believe they have a way out of this pit? I assume not.
No, looking down, you just get the sense that this is their home. They live in this lake. There's this this pit opens up into an underground cavern where these creatures are living.
Right. It's less like a well and more just we're on kind of like a suspended platform thing that has a couple of holes in it.
While all this has been going on as well, Trill's over on the the eastern side, investigating, checking out the eastern side of this whole room. Trying to see if there's anything. There seems to be like something on the ground over there. I can't tell what that is.
Yeah, so what you're seeing is a drain, it looks like. There's a drain in the floor on the eastern side of the room. You get the sense that maybe at some point people would have been marched into this room, made to stand on a platform, and then perhaps somebody on the throne would have pulled a lever and opened the platform up and dumped whoever it is into the pit.
And then Trill, of course, is always looking for secret doors.
She doesn't see anything secret in here. This does not look like it was a much trafficked area. This was a room that was used just for this one purpose, and that's it. So no secret doors here. So the four of you are somewhat injured. I don't know if you want to heal up before moving on.
A lay on hands, maybe?
Absolutely.
I just need 10 minutes. One lay on hands.
Yeah, I just needed one as well, which...
I need 2 plus a third for the persistent damage.
Well, after Vidina has fixed up Trill's playing some music, refocusing, soothing everyone a little, not actually casting soothe, but, trying to soothe everyone's spirits a little bit. Flavor soothe. Exactly.
So it sounds like you're spending some time doing laying on of hands. We're dealing with this persistent damage. And what that means is by the time everybody is all healed up, it is right around 9:50 in the evening.
I still have a sense that something bad is going to happen. Do you guys feel that?
Usually.
I mean, always.
Sort of doom or something?
Yeah, like the bad thing is right around the corner. I don't know.
Well, should we go to the end of the hall and see if that's where the bad thing is?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's go to the end of the hall.
So you exit this strange, judgment chamber and go back into that hallway running east to west that ends on the other end in this closed door to the east.
Ao, while they're walking down the hall, hands everyone the 2.5 gold that they're owed from the 10 she's reporting back on having found.
Okay, good.
Are you sure that's all you found in the throne?
Yeah, it was that dragon scale I gave Mag that was taking up so much of the space.
Huh.
Oh, and the climbing bolt. So when we need to climb stuff, I'm here to help.
All right, so moving over to the east, Mag takes a look at the door. Is this the kind we got to bash in, or are we looking at a regular door here?
If you try the handle on the door, it looks like it moves freely. This door does not seem to be locked like that supply room you found last time.
Ao
All right.
checks for traps.
Mag will scout
Got it.
and open the door.
And it's another large-ish room. This one not quite as big as the last one, only maybe 30 feet across. But there are weapon racks standing in the northeast and southeast corners of this room. The southeast corner rack is empty, but the northeast rack holds a hatchet made of dark crystal. There are
Ooh.
2 alcoves like the ones that you just saw in that room, the pits, between the racks on the eastern wall. And they have an open hatch and a ladder leading down. And you see an exit leading off to the north, an exit leading off to the south, and the exit leading off to the west being the door that you just stepped through.
Tell me more about this dark crystal hatchet. That sounds fun.
Designed by Jim Henson.
Yeah, it's on this weapon rack to the north.
May I look at it so that I may know more of its essence?
Sure. Mag reaches out towards this dark crystal hatchet on the weapon rack, and she feels her hand get stuck.
Oh.
Like your hand isn't coming off. And then suddenly a pair of eyes opens up on the weapon rack, and a large smiling mouth opens up as well. And that mouth yells out, "Oh, I got one!" And then a mouth opens up on the door right next to Vadim, and it says, "Well, what does it taste like?"
Oh, no.
And we'll pick up from there next time.
How did I know I should have sensed magic? I should have tried to detect magic first.
Trap weapon! The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.
It's a mimic. It's a fucking
Oh,
mimic.
of course, it's a fucking mimic.
Check
Love
it out.
it.
I got a button I can push to turn both of these things into mimics.
Oh, that's
Oh
awesome.
my gosh, of course, it's a fucking mimic with the fucking dark crystal.
That's awesome.
That's why you didn't even respond to my Jim Henson joke. You were trying to stay too serious.
I was trying to stay too serious. I've been looking forward to this for years.
Years. This is why we're doing this adventure path.
David's face right now is. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
It's maybe the least cautious thing I've done in the whole AP. It's the only time I've been like, oh, what's... I guess I ran
careful
after
It
the
was
green
so
light.
beautiful. It was like the perfect mimic moment of someone who's always super cautious, just in this one moment going, oh, I'm just going to go pick this thing up.
Yeah. Ooh, shiny.
All right, I'll roll up a damp beer.